NBA Draft 2022. Welcome to the Lake Show, young man. Freshman season with Michigan State, it's Max Christie. 35th overall pick to the Los Angeles Lakers. He played 35 games, 9.3 points per game, shot just 32% from three, 3.5 rebounds per. Check this out. He's the first Michigan State player drafted by the Lakers since a young man named Irving Magic Johnson. And we will be talking to Max later in the show. He is at the draft and he's going to join us, so that's really cool. Sticking with the NBA and kind of what's going on out there, this is always such a fun time of year because of stuff like this. Woj reporting, ESPN sources, if Kyrie Irving can't reach an agreement to stay with Brooklyn, he has a list of teams he'd like them to consider on sign and trades. Lakers, Clippers, Knicks, Heat, Mavs, and Sixers. Of course that's your list, Kyrie.
It's a pretty good
Where's
list.
Orlando in Indiana? I always want to ask that question. None of those teams have cap space to sign him without the Nets' help. So I ask you guys this. Is this the end of the Brooklyn run with KD and Kyrie? Or do you believe these are just smoke screens and ultimately Kyrie and KD will be in Nets uniforms next year? Because right now it's been 3 years, Bress, and it hasn't equaled much.
Yeah, wasn't there a report that KD is also kind of getting restless? But he's got like 4 more years left on his contract. So how restless can he be getting? The truth is, for the Lakers, if they want to get Kyrie, he'll have to opt out, which he has to decide next week. He's got 1 year left on his deal for about $35 million, maybe a little bit higher next season. And he can only sign with the Lakers for about $6.3, $6.2 million with the mid-level exception. So talk about a pay cut. That's a massive pay cut. You know, there's always sign and trade possibilities, but you know, the Lakers just don't have a lot of guys to stack up to get the 35. It would take a lot to make a trade happen. It would take a lot for Kyrie to take a massive pay cut, almost $30 million to play for the Lakers next season.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, $30 million plus the $17 to $18 million that he gave up last year by not playing home games. I don't think that's going to happen. It can only go up from here. I mean, I don't think it can get any worse for Kyrie. He's a great player. You know what he can do when he's on the floor.
Just a magician with the basketball in his hands.
So I think KD is wise enough to say, hey, look, we had a rough year last year. Everybody did the last 3 years. Mentally, let's get this ship back, you know, on the sea and get it sailing in the right direction. That's what I think is going to happen.
See, I'm with you. I mean, KD is still playing at such a high level.
Yeah, he's 33.
Still the most incredible scorer in the game. If they're just healthy and play, they're going to have a shot.
It can only get better.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much merit to put into it, but Kyrie's still considered, though, big game, like a top guy. But the whole thing about, you know, was it injuries or not playing in games or is he motivated? Can you trust that? I mean, teams still will take a chance on a guy like that because of what he can do with the basketball, right?
Well, I think, you know, he went through a tough couple years. You know, injuries, you know, whether he wanted to be vaccinated or not. He made some choices. It was difficult for fans and for the Brooklyn organization to accept a lot of it, but he's that good, Geeter. He's that great. So you got to figure that, okay, you got to put that behind you. You know, he's learned from it, and I don't think he's going to come back with an attitude that he's going to be, offensive or try to offend anybody. He's going to come. I think he's going to try to come and play and wipe away that last year and show people, you know, just how great he is. And he is pretty damn good.
Is it all a big bluff? You know, obviously he wants a 5-year extension.
Yes.
He's 30 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not been able to stay on the court the last couple of years. So, you know, he could be in a contract year if he opts in. If there's no trade or no, I'm going to take a $30 million pay cut to play for the Lakers, he's in a contract year. So it's a lot of gamesmanship, a lot of who's going to blink first. And I have a feeling that, Kyrie, KD will probably be back in Brooklyn in a few months for the season start.
All right, let's take a look at some tweets here. Shams, you know, he's very active on draft night. Sharif O'Neal has agreed to play
an
NBA Summer League with the Los Angeles Lakers. Sources tell The Athletic. Another O'Neal big man in a Lakers uniform, keeping it in the family. 34? You like this, Prez, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Nice kid, worked out for the Lakers earlier this week, actually, and he had some pretty funny dialogue with reporters. He said, you know, my dad did not want me to come out in the draft. He wanted me to stay at LSU for another year.
Yeah.
Because Sharif has had a couple tough years.
Yeah.
He had a heart ailment, kind of hurt his career at UCLA, transferred to LSU, had some other injuries. He's only averaging about 3 points a game in his college career, but a good young kid, and it'll be fun to watch him play. I have a feeling Shaq will be in Vegas for a lot of those games.
That's awesome.
The kid will be flying private jets to Vegas.
He's not traveling G League style?
No. It's a different kind of jet.
We have
Shaq will take
another
care of
tweet. Sharpshooter.
See, I like this. Okay, couple two-way guys, Geet. Cole Swider.
Yep.
And Scottie Pippen Jr.
Pippen Jr.
Yeah, I got to interview him a couple weeks ago when he worked out for the Lakers. And it was fun to talk to him. I said, okay, so how much has your dad been kind of helping you through this process? You know, these guys are going from city to city to city during pre-draft workouts. He said, it's great. You know, my dad and I have been talking a little bit about it, and he seemed like a pretty excited kid. Glad the Lakers picked him up in the two-way deal. Cole Swider, he just came in for his second workout with the Lakers a couple days ago. 6'9" Syracuse power forward.
Did you hear the stat B more dropped about what he shot from three?
41%. He shot from three. So that's some pretty good numbers right there. So I like that the Lakers, okay, they bought in higher than expected in the second round. If they were around the late 40s or early 50s, if they had bought into those spots, maybe they draft one of these two guys. Instead, they got lucky. These two guys were available after the draft. Boom, snap them up on two-way deals. I like
This is what the Lakers do really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great pick, Brez. You know, there's so much you can do with that. I also like what the G League has meant to the NBA, especially in the last 3 years when we were depleted with players. And when you find guys, you know, that you want, like Pippen Jr. and Cole, and guys, O'Neal, who are willing to go there, that's development. That's what they're not getting a lot of in college anymore. So the G League does a good job of developing players and getting them ready and playing the same systems that the big boys play. So it's great to see them willing to take that chance, you know, and it's you know, that's how organizations grow and have players available when they need them.
And keep in mind, the two-way contract used to be so restrictive. You know, it used to be limited, the number of games you could play with the big boys. That's the way it was. The first couple of years, they got rid of that. Now you can stay the entire season pretty much with the big guys, no problems. You'll get paid a little bit more, prorated, but still, it's I like how it's much more flexible. You're not stuck in the G League for 75% of the season necessarily. Hey, if you deserve to play at the NBA level, you're allowed to on the newer two-way deals.
All right, after the break, we'll hear from Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka and get his thoughts on the newest Laker, Max Christie, who we hope to be talking to soon, guys.
Mad Max.